We're starting on another car. Every single project I'm working on right now is held up in one way or another, either because of parts or waiting for people to send me money. So we've got this weirdo in the shop. This is weird for me because it's a late model. And it's a late model that isn't triple white convertible Super Beetle. That's rare for me. I don't see those often. The astute of you amongst you will notice this single exit exhaust, which means, that's right, it's fuel injected still. But not only that, it's a standard, not a super. This is incredible. So we've got a 1976 standard hardtop fuel injected Beetle that has a really simple problem. It actually runs really good, and it starts like pretty immediately, but it doesn't like hot starts. I don't even know where to start with that. I've never worked on one of these, and the only time I have worked on one, it was to pull all this crap off and put a carburetor on it. So we're gonna try to fix the fuel injection?
I'm so awkward.
I'm hoping this is going to be a fairly simple fix, because I really genuinely, honestly, and not just pertaining to Volkswagens, I mean really any car, don't know anything about fuel injection except that it's like spraying. That's it. That's all I know. Beyond that, I also really don't care about fuel injection. So I'm going to do my best to try to fix this, because I'm interested in trying to fix this particular car. Like I said, if this were a triple white 78 convertible Super that was still fuel injected, if I even allowed it in the shop, which is a pretty low probability, the only way I would let it into the shop is if that person were gonna do a carb swap. The fact that this is a solid 76 standard hardtop that's still fuel injected makes me not only excited to fix it, but also excited to drive it. I've never gotten to drive a well-running fuel injected Beetle before. I've driven a poorly running fuel injected Beetle before, and big surprise, it was a triple white late model convertible Super. So this is, I'm actually looking forward to this. I have a feeling that it has something to do with one of the many temperature controlled units on the engine. The first thing I'm going to look at is the temperature sender number 2, which is located on the driver's side cylinder head, to make sure that there's not like a short in that or anything. The resistance is bad or any of that, because it does start up fine. It just doesn't like to start again when it's hot. So I'm pretty sure that is not the cold start valve, because the cold start valve does exactly what it is titled. It does cold starts, not hard starts. One of the other things that I read in looking around the forums before I took this car in was checking your fuel pressure. I guess the system runs off of residual fuel pressure. Could be wrong there. I'm going to check electrical stuff first. Well, we're just going to start with temp sensor number 2. So, to test temperature sensor 2, disconnect its lead wire, then connect an ohmmeter, as shown in figure 421, this guy, at 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 degrees centigrade. The resistance should be approximately 2,500 ohms. If the resistance is considerably higher or lower, replace the temperature sensor. Replace temperature sensor 2. I just put my little laser on, and it's at 86 degrees, so I'm going to try to cool it down and see if I can get it to hover around 68. 68. Let me get my my test meter out. So, this is the guy we're testing. All right. There's a wire that comes up and goes into a connector with a white wire back here. Unfortunately, it's taken me so long to set this up that my temperature is back up to 81 and I'm reading 1.7 kiloohms. So I'm going to try to cool that down. I'm actually going to cool it down while it's connected and see if this changes at all. So 2.7, oh, that's still going up, huh? So 65. I'm gonna watch this and see when it comes down. I want to see what this reads, what the temperature is when this hits 25. Well, it's at 67, 68, and it just got to 24. Huh. So I've been reading the manual for 20 minutes or so. And every hypothesis, theory, or whatever that I've come up with so far, potato chip, requires, in my mind anyway, that the car be failing. So I'm going to have to drive it to get it to the point where it won't start so that I can test from there. Unfortunately, there's a big, massive, gaping hole in the muffler. And that is one of the other things that I have to do to this while it's here, is replace the muffler. Unfortunately, the stupid Mini is still on the lift, so I get to do that all on the ground. I'm going to do that first, and then I will, you know, go drive the thing and get it nice and hot, and you know, see if I can get it to fail so that I can test it. Okay, it's like the next day or the day after or some such in time. I have replaced the muffler and taken the car out for a ride and got it nice and hot. And now, sure enough, it won't start. And it kind of, when I got back, I immediately shut it off and turned it back on, and it started, so I shut it off and then let it sit for a few more minutes and tried to start it again. And it started, and it only ran for like a second, then died, and it kept doing that consistently, so I'm wondering if the fuel pumper is even coming on, or if this filter is clogged. So I'm going to put a clamp on this side and disconnect this, and you know, take the filter out, make sure that it's clear, and then I'll probably run this hose into a bottle and crank it and see if I'm getting any fuel. So that's what I'm going to do now, and you're kind of in my way. So I'm going to shut the camera off and do the things, and then we'll pick up when I have the thing in a bottle. So I realized that I can't actually run this into a bottle because that's the inside of the pump, so I'm going to have to do that at the back. The filter's clear, so that's good. However, I did realize that that hose is, you know, restricted a bit. So I'm going to loosen this guy, this bolt here, and try to rotate this to get a little bit more clearance on this guy. And then I'm going to find a line in the rear that I can run into a bottle and see if the thing's working. Or honestly, since I have more room here, I might take the power leads off this and check those first. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. All right. I've got my test light hooked up to the wires. We're gonna do a little cranky and see what happens. So it didn't light up, which apparently means I've got to test this guy. You have to do this test while the connector is on the relay, so that everything is operating the way it's supposed to. I guess if I crank this and the light doesn't come on, then the relay is bad and that has to get replaced. So cranking. All right, the light's on, so that would mean that the relay is doing its job. Okay, so doing this test, the light came on, which is good, I guess. So now we have to check something else to make sure that the power relay is closing, and we're going to do that with key on. So I've got to figure out what terminal 88B is and connect it up much in the same way that it is here, and then just turn the key on, and as long as that light comes on, with no positive current, blah, 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 and the power relay is not closing in the so as long as that light comes on, we're good, and we can start freaking out about the next thing. So let me figure out what terminal is what, and then I'll set the camera up again and do the, you know, the whole thing. Okay, so I only have to turn the key on, I don't have to crank it. And as long as the light comes on, we're good. So key on, light on. What happens if I crank it? It stays on. Okay, so that means the relay is not the problem. And I've got to figure out why the pump won't come on. It might be a wiring issue. Well, so all that tested good, but for some reason the pump still isn't working. So I'm going to apply power directly to the pump and see if it even comes on. So we're just going to do a little bit of that, and then so now the system's primed, I think. Maybe I should do a little bit longer, you think? That's a weird noise. All right, so I wonder if it'll start now. Okay. Prime the system again. All right, that tells me it's probably electrical then. All right, so I've primed the system again. I'm going to start it so that it runs and see if maybe that light didn't come on, did it? So it's been some time. I've been tinkering with this on and off because it's been infuriating me. And I think the issue is that the double relay behind the back seat is not actually working the way it's supposed to. The only time I've been able to get this thing to run is if I prime the fuel pump manually, like running leads off the battery and jumping the fuel pump to prime the system. And then if I crank it, it'll run for like a second and then it doesn't run anymore. If I leave the pump hooked up, because the circuit that the pump is on fires the fifth injector as well, it'll run, but the fifth injector is dumping so much fuel into it that it's basically flooding and it doesn't want to run anyway. So it seems that the issue is the fuel pump is not getting power when cranking, and the double relay's job is to actually switch the circuits when it's operating. So it's on one circuit when it's cranking for the fuel pump, and then once the air intake sensor senses that the engine is running, it switches to a different circuit to carry on with the fuel pump. So I'm not getting either one of those things happening, which makes me think it's the double relay. Unfortunately, the double relay is no longer available, which is why it's getting a carburetor. On the next episode, I will show you how to do an FI to carburetor conversion and all the bits that are associated with doing that. For the time being, though, I have to get this out of here first. So thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like, leave a comment, share with your friends. And I'll see you at the next one. So many bits.